Welcome back to another episode of the Movie Dungeon. I am the host, Dwayne, the flyest nerd you know. And today we're talking about X-Men '97, Season 2, the last episode. What a season has been. So let's get on into it. Starting off with Cable telling X-Factor team pretty much that Apocalypse is living in Gambit, and Gambit must die. Gambit cannot go on. This has to go. You know, she's like, "Are you sure you on board with this?" He's like, "I've been raised to do this. I've been born to do this." So there they go. But Rogue and Beast and Nightcrawler find Apocalypse's ship, the same ship that gave Apocalypse's power 5,000 years ago. The one that Charles evidently pushes him, Apocalypse, into to get that power. So ironically, that's where they have to go. They hear a voice in the ship saying whoever, goes in and gets this power, that they won't ever be the same. Without any hesitation, Rogue goes in there. So just keep that in mind. Meanwhile, X-Factor team rolls up on the X-Men's team. They demand Gambit or he will be taken by force and the X-Men. Charles says, "You ain't scaring nothing. No one around here. Ain't nobody backing down around here, baby." So they get ready for a fight. Cable uses his power to bring down the defense shield, I guess you want to call it, very easily. So the team is like, okay, they're not stopping. It's about to get an all-out war. Gene senses Cable and that what he's doing and how he's on the other side, and they're gearing up. And I was actually kind of anxious. I like the way they were setting up everything in this. Especially this beginning part. It kind of just went off, started off pretty swinging. And, honestly, after that little, Rogue, and going into that little Apocalypse ship, I got a little emotional. I was just like, this episode feels heavy already. And I don't even know why. But let's keep going. X-Factor has some random-ass crew members get into Sentinels that look like giant Iron Man suits. The X-Men system defenses start shooting down these Sentinels as Charles is looking for Rogue but can't find her. He uses Cerebro, but it's outside of Cerebro's reach. And I was like, gosh, where did this lady go? Rogue is in front of a Celestial, Eson. And he pretty much says that Gambit must die so there could be Apocalypse through Apocalypse. She tries to fight him. She tries to swing on him, but her skin starts boiling and melting off and peeling. But she's fighting through it, like enduring all of that. But Eson changes his mind, seeing Rogue's love so strong, and she's willing to endure the pain. She sees that she's willing to die. He decides to give her a choice, an ultimatum. More like a choice. He's pretty much saying your life for his. And without any hesitation, like always, she jumps for it. I'll save him. I'll do it. So, boom. She comes out in a black and yellow with her eyes slightly green. She hugs Nightcrawler, thanks him for keeping the faith, and flies off. I was like, oh my God, I'm about to lose it. I felt the weight heavy, and then look, like it was like fucking 5 minutes later. I was like, good Lord. I'm stressing just reviewing this over again, and my head, my emotions, it's hurting my head. But let's keep going. Back with the X-Men, Jubilee and Sunspot are taking down as many Sentinels as they can. X-Factor breaks into the tower in a cool-ass way by using Strong Guy to absorb the power of the shield around the building, and Siren to come out and yell, sending him, the Strong Guy, back into the building with full force. Way more force than it was before. And that was a cool-ass entrance. Now, I know they're the bad guys, but somebody got to get that cool-ass entrance, right? Moving on. Storm and Forge are flying in the sky, dealing with Sentinels as well. But Storm being all, lovey-dovey, not to Forge, thank God, but to the human race. She doesn't want to hurt anybody. So she deals with them in a delicate way. A lot of them start flying out in parachutes and stuff like that. So she pretty much take care of them. If Storm's in the sky, you might as well just get out of the sky. Cable blasts a hole from the top of the building, lands in front of his parents. They try talking some sense into him, but there's no prevail. There's not having it. So Scott has to blast him with his optic blast. And boy, they get it cracking. Morph and Wolverine fight off Psylocke and Angel. Morph turns into Dr. Octopus, which is probably the craziest and randomest person. I think he really likes turning into Dr. Octopus. Yeah, I just don't know why. I've seen him turn into him more often than none. So, I don't know, Morph, what's going on with you, buddy? What's up with Dr. What's other people? Moving on. Wolverine takes out Psylocke's sword, and he gets jiggy with it. They have a little cool samurai fight, and he still has his claws out in one hand and stuff like that. You know, just harking back to those days that he was in Japan and all that stuff, the little samurai art. Perfect. It was just all like tying in every thread. Like, I would say, like, ever since Marvel took over the X-Men, their cartoons is beautiful, poetic. Everything flows together, and all the needles and everything, all the seams are sewed. It's just keep going though. Jubilee takes on Havoc in a jet-on-jet fight. I'm glad that they finally used Jubilee's power. Cool in this. You know, she was able to take out Havoc, I wouldn't say pretty easily, but she handled her own. She even hopped out of the plane gangster style, is in the sky, and got it cracking with her powers, and then like use her powers to guide her back inside of the ship. And I was just like, yo, she took out Havoc, bro. I hope I'm saying his name right. But she took him out, you know? That's Scott's brother. Okay, keep that in mind. That's Scott's brother. That's why he has, like, that, you know, touche. He talks to her like how he does, like, little sisters her. Like, you know, Havoc's not a bad guy. He's just on the... To me, he's just on the opposite of the line with the same morals, but different ways of obviously going about it. But let's keep going, though. We see Bishop and Polaris fight off the rest of the X Factor team. They have obviously made their way in. The fight was pretty good. I would say the multiple man was used more than everybody else besides Strong Guy. That little beast monster looking she-wolf thingamajigger, I don't ever see enough of that. You know, they need to do that character a little bit more, in my opinion. That person's just there at this point. You do get Siren attacking in there, and what I did like about that fight was that Bishop and Strong Guy were getting down, and pretty much their powers cancel out each other. Like, their both powers are absorbed and dish out what they absorbed, you know. So it's just like one punch is harder, absorbs that, redishes that power out, and that person absorbs that. It's just trading off powers, and it's just blow for blow. And that was pretty dope. They should have done more with that one too, but I'm glad we got to see that though. 100%. Moving on though. Cable fights off his parents when he gets an upper hand by taking Cyclops' glasses, punches it through the ground, and destroying the rest of the building. I'm like, dude, Cable, what is you doing, bro? Honestly, bro, I didn't even know Cable was all that OP. I didn't even know he was all that OP, to be honest. Like, now granted, like, we did see him fight his mom, and and then his dad, he blocks the blast and stuff like that. But I just keep forgetting, like, how strong Cable is, or I just never knew. Cause low key, bro, his power is scary as shit. Low key, he just beat his parents. Jean is, she had the Dark Phoenix. It's Jean. Cyclops, the blast. They're like portals or whatever the hell. He whoops their ass pretty much. I was just like, yo. But again, it could have been easy. That is their kid, but Scott blasted him first. So honestly, can you really say anything? But after that, Gambit does find. Cable does find Gambit, and he shoots Gambit right in the head. But all he does is free Apocalypse. Apocalypse merges with this Gambit and Apocalypse-like version, crazy looking. This crazy mixed form of the two, the rest of the team ends up showing up. Apocalypse ends up knocking everybody down with one little energy, or Gambit Apocalypse, however you want to call it. Knocks everybody down with the energy, but not Charles. And everybody that was knocked down turns into one of his little followers. Their eyes all turn red, and now they're under Apocalypse, but Charles. He made Charles suffer by watching this. He, pretty much saying like, yo, I told you, your people that you love will be your downfall type deal. The closest people to you. And he even says, to me, my X-Men. And I was like, oh, bro, they're about to kill Charles. I was like, oh, no. And I was talking shit about Charles the whole damn season, but listen, don't take on Mr. Clean, man. Don't do it. Don't do it. But just good enough. Rogue shows up and slams into the floor, releasing another similar energy, but freeing all the X-Men's mind. She then sees this Gambit / Apocalypse form, and she just has that look, and just, Apocalypse has that same look, like, who the fuck? But she's more like, what the fuck is this? And I need to get Remy out. So that's pretty much what she does. She reaches out and she touches him, sucks all the fucking Apocalypse power, or Apocalypse himself damn near out, or completely out. She stashes it in like this, kind of like this little jar-like thing, kind of like when Gambit shoved that thing into her chest that gave her the power of that one lady of Apocalypse's ex. But yeah, she traps him in that, and she hands it to Cable. Pretty much like, yo, this is what you've been fighting all your life for. Kind of like bury this and bury that part of you too. But like bury that past, get over that. This is gone. This dead is gone. Move on. And I thought it was cool, right? She does hug Gambit, and her powers that the Celestial gave her disappear. And she thought about, what Isan said about how they can only, life for life type deal. When she looks over and she sees a jet landing, and Beast is the only one that comes out. And my heart sank to my a-hole. My a-hole. The next scene, man, Nightcrawler's meeting with Isan, and he says, I'll give my life for hers. I'll trade pretty much her deal with hers and fulfill it right now. Right now. And he probably did that as soon as she left too. That's why she was still able to fight and he was still able to go. Because Beast just arrived. I don't feel like it just happened. It had to happen right after he left. Like, Nightcrawler was like, he recognized, like, damn, man, like, the voice said there would be consequences and shit like that. And he went in there and talked to Isan himself, and Isan granted him that wish, man. And Nightcrawler died. Oh, I can't believe I just said it out loud. Nightcrawler died, man. Just to, and because Isan saw that love couldn't really heal the world better than the death and destruction can be. Death and destruction are supposed to rebuild, but love, you can use that to rebuild everything too. And he saw that, and Nightcrawler's death he said, will give the team that and give the world more of that, because it's going to make everybody better on every level. So, they pretty much ends that episode, but there was a post-credit scene. And the post-credit scene was actually pretty crazy in itself, though, because I didn't know what the fuck was going on, But in the post-credit scene, we see Mystique going through some files, but she's not actually Mystique at that point. She's Val Cooper. She's going through some files, hearing on the news about her son being elected for some anti-mutant coalition, and so now he's running that. Her son Creed is running that now, so that's all bad. The real Val Cooper comes in, and Mystique pops her and shoots her. Then the file says Mystique, really like determined to invade the White House, and she's like, oh yeah, for sure. And then she shoots, Val, and then she takes her form fully. And that's how they end off the season, man. I would say I want to get more episodes, man, like the old school ones. The old school ones gave us so much in one season, bro. And just like cartoons back then, period, used to give us more episodes in one season. But nonetheless, the writing on this season, I think, was fantastic. I think this was better than the last in some parts. I definitely felt the emotional weight of this episode and through this season. Rogue is my favorite, so they were teasing and they were playing with my emotions this whole episode. Nightcrawler was my third favorite, and now he's gone, so I'm pretty upset about that too. But that's all we have today. Thank you for joining. I'm Dwayne, the flyest nerd you know. This is the Movie Dungeon. Peace.